Hello everyone, this is Plankera, and welcome to my universe. Today, I'm going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. So last time I finished my updates to the lower right, and I still think it looks pretty good. So I was looking at the lower head turn here before I move on to doing some stuff on the left side again, and there were just a couple of little things I wanted to fix here. As always, my present self is pickier than my past self, so I tend to pick out just a thing or two that I want to adjust. But fortunately, it is all quite small. I think everything is looking pretty okay here. Let's see, part of it is also this little strand here. Exactly where does it connect again? Kinda just roughly on top of that shadow. Let's get that into a good spot here. Here we go. So I gotta say, the world sounds very funny right now. My ear's a little bit stuffed up for reasons. And man, when your ears are feeling a little bit funny, everything just sounds so incredibly amusing and different. Almost makes me just want to make noises and see what happens. Get new appreciation for my kids when they were very little and just wanting to experiment with doing stuff with their ears. My younger one is getting into the phase where he's really noticing some of that and just plugging his ears, or rather I should say he just kind of stopped doing a lot of that. But now I remember when I'd like change his diaper or something and I'd talk to him, he'd just plug his ears and just have this incredible smile on his face while he enjoyed how funny things sound. Human perception is wild. Kind of reminds me of stuff you have to get over if you ever want to be a content creator. You have to be able to tolerate the sound of your own voice. That's another sound perception thing. And part of the reason that most people hate the sound of their own voices is because it sounds different in your head. So when you hear it outside of your head, it just sounds wrong. And it's unsettling and kind of gross. Even if it is how other people hear you. It's just not how you're used to hearing the sound of your own voice. So it sounds very strange. Acoustics are something else. Speaking of perception, when I went in here today, I was not expecting that little strand to have so many issues, but here we are. Sometimes these tiny things can be surprisingly temperamental. I'm trying not to affect the width of the strand too much, just how it's curving. because the way it was curving is just a little bit off there, and then there's a few spots that just keep getting kind of crunchy, and, well, that's no good either. Gotta fix that. Can't have crunchiness in the hair. That would just be unfortunate. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. And it also fixed a bunch of the issues that I had with the shadow here. So in fact, I think I can actually move parts of it back even. And then I'll just have to clean it up a little, but that's okay. That's pretty much expected whenever I make movements like that. Just get everything into place and then make it all nice and clean afterwards. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we can get back into the left turns. Very exciting. Just gonna go round and round and round, apparently. So there it looked fairly clean, but I didn't quite like the angle that the strand was coming down at, so I figured I'd adjust that too. These things can be surprisingly particular, and getting it just right really can make it look so much better. You see, right now it's still a little bit off. Maybe if I zoom in, it'll make it just a little bit more clear where I see it. So you can see just right through here, if you look closely, on how the angle gets a little bit weird. Or it changes in a way that I don't think makes sense, is probably a more accurate way to put it. So I'll just slowly push some of those parts back to where I think they belong. Almost there. Almost there. Alright, so while I fix some of this up, yesterday I posted the speed paint of the image that I've been working on for a while. And so now that's all up there. If you guys are ever curious about my painting process, I'd been looking forward to sharing this one for a while. Just because, I don't know, I like showing my process a little bit because I think it's different than what I see from a lot of artists that work in an anime style. Because I don't do line art at all. I don't even sketch with line art. I just go right into painting. Right away. So I always like showing that there's many different ways to arrive at the end there. And while lines work well for many people, they just never did for me. So I was happy to eventually find this method that did. I'm still figuring out ways to make it a little bit more efficient, so hopefully I can draw a little bit faster and some of these other things. But at the very least, I can get something down if I'm given enough time. And that is more than I can say for when I was trying to do line art. So, always happy to share that there are many different ways to do these things. And if something's not working for you, sometimes it just means you gotta try something new. And it took me a while to find it for myself, but once I did, well, I was able to get something done. And that felt nice. But yes, my process of doing things, very chaotic. I jump around a lot and just work on what I can and what makes sense. It's like I'm not sure how apparent it is in the speed paint, but I was having a hard time getting her hands right, and even besides that, I felt like the hands were important to the overall feeling of the picture, and I kept covering them up with hair, and I didn't like that. So I had to figure out a good way to construct her hair around those hands, so that this way they wouldn't be buried. And that took a little while too. So I kept going back and forth on a lot of these things, and eventually came up with something that I liked. And then the real magic happened when I realized that I was drawing the hands backwards, in that the arm closest to the viewer was not attached to the hand closest to the viewer, because I was having her arms cross across her chest. Her chest. So the arm that was closest to the viewer connected to the hand that was on the other side of her neck, whereas the hand closest to the viewer actually connected to the arm coming out of the shoulder on the other side. And once I figured that out, things suddenly started making a lot more sense. It always helps to know how your body parts are connecting. And I just thought that particular speed paint was kind of interesting because it just showed a few things that I do that only sometimes show up in my process. Like in this case, I was struggling with her arms and hands, as I was just mentioning, so I actually expanded the canvas so that this way I could draw the parts outside of the canvas area, and then crop it back down later once I had everything the way I wanted it, and knew that everything was in roughly the right place. Very useful if you can tell that there's just something off with the way things are positioned, but can't quite identify what it is. Sometimes just drawing the rest can actually make it much easier and save you a whole bunch of time. It always seems like drawing more things, especially things that will not make it into the final picture, will just take more time. But this is not always the case. Sometimes it really does save you a lot of time. Just because then you can see everything you're doing wrong with your eyeballs instead of with your intuition. Eyeballs are a little bit more reliable than intuition. So here right now, I was noticing when I was double checking things on the other turns that the highlights on this strand were not quite in the right place. And that tells me that the vertices were not spaced quite right. So I'm just getting that spacing right here. You can see that I'm not really adjusting the curves or anything, I'm just adjusting the distance between the vertices. And I am hoping that will fix my problems. Yeah, seems to be doing better. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting those little things into place here. Oh yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Looks like I did it a little bit too much, and now this lower highlight is a little bit too low. So let's bring that back up just a little here. Sometimes it takes a couple of tries to get everything into the right place. Never be afraid to flail, friends. Sometimes flailing is what it takes to figure out how things need to go. When in doubt, just try things. Here I'm adjusting the curve a little bit though. I realized that it was getting a little bit too strong relative to the right turn. So I just needed to straighten that out just a little bit here. It's funny, I'm pretty sure like 5 minutes ago I said that I was gonna get into the left turns again, but well, sometimes things don't go as planned. It's okay. I'll get there. I get the feeling I'll be taking things slow for a few days. Said my ear's a little plugged up. There seems to be some shenanigan with it. I remember the other day I kind of had this bizarre sense of vertigo. So I get the feeling that for the next couple of days, I might just be taking things a little bit slow. Okay, and then I noticed something completely unrelated. It's okay, this is a pretty small thing. Just wasn't 100% happy with the angle on that little spot over there that I just poked. And if I'm not completely happy with it, I might as well just fix it up while I'm here. That's why I get the feeling I might be going round and round a bit. Just fix some things in one area, then go back in a circle and just gradually get everything just a little bit better until I decide things are done. So this is where these things are dangerous. Because if you're not careful, I think I really could just poke at this forever and ever. But I would like to finish it someday, so that's why I gotta be careful. Anyway, now I'm getting over into the left side, and the first thing that I was noticing was that I dropped all of these little spots considerably on the bottom turn, so the first thing I want to do is align all those shadows with where they are on the bottom turn now. So all these little strands need to get into those new spots. Not quite there, but yeah, something like that. That's already much better than how it was. And I want to take a look at how things are compared to the left turn as well. Yeah, but I think before I do that, I want to get a lot of the vertical location of everything into a good state. Doesn't have to be clean, but should be accurate. So I think I'm going to start with this part kind of behind her ears. It should be roughly the same height as it is on the bottom head turn, and right now it just isn't. Yeah, there we go, that's better. I also like the way that I'm handling this strand here. I'm just looking at the bottom here and I see it gets thicker. So it looks like we're seeing a little bit more of it, and I think that looks pretty cool. I'm happy with it. Oh yeah. I just always love those tiny little things that just make things just a little bit better. It's wonderful. It's those little things that are the difference between a head that looks like it's turning and something that just looks flat and paper thin. I went through a period where I was looking at a ton of model showcases on both YouTube and Twitter, and that was one of the big differences between the ones that I thought looked really good versus the ones that I didn't think looked as good, is the way the hair wrapped around the head. And how well the rigger was able to sell that illusion. Some of them do a really good job. Like, I'm super impressed. There are some amazing people out there. Man, it's funny, now that I'm going back into this lower left turn, I didn't actually realize how much I moved everything on the right side, and thus the lower turn again. A lot of things changed. A lot of things changed very quickly. It's alright, I think I can make it beautifully here too. Yeah, I'm just looking at this going all the way across, and I might need to make some more adjustments in a lot of different places. But that's kind of how it goes. I think it'll be okay. And I actually think before I do a bunch of stuff on the upper left one, that I might do a bunch of stuff on the upper right one first, so that this way I can just go whoop, whoop, and just have her move her head back and forth. Although I guess the upper right isn't looking that bad. I should probably at least clean it up a little bit before I worry too much, but... Because yeah, when I take a look around over here, I'm just like... I see a few spots that I might want to fix up still. But, one thing at a time. I'm gonna go fix some stuff up over here first. Over here, and over here. Worry about those, and... maybe I'll just do all my lower turns all at once, I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to figure out good processes for a lot of this. I've said before, I don't quite know what I'm doing yet. I'm just trying something and seeing what works. I just noticed here that I didn't feel like these strands were lining up quite correctly on the left head turn either. So I figured that I should get those looking good before I get too deep into the lower left, since I will be using this to help me figure out where things on the lower left should be. And I think I also want to just like push this entire thing over to the side a bit. Big scary movement. But I think it'll make things look a little bit better. Guess I shouldn't worry about cleaning things up too hard just yet. Want to make sure everything looks good first. Yeah, I think in theory this could be pretty cool. So let's see where this idea takes me. Yeah, I think that could be pretty cool in theory. Right now, I just kind of have to find the right distance, because the things down here were moving a little bit too much. Going a little bit too far. Her head is not moving that far, but I thought it looked pretty cool. Yeah, the idea is definitely there. I guess this means I need to hide that strand again. Okay, we'll put this in later. Yes, I like this. Once I find the perfect combination. See, right now we're not doing optimal floof. We're doing optimal movement, I guess. Maybe I'll find a better term for it. But we're really gonna make that head turn. Let's go. I think I'm actually gonna make this highlight just a tad shorter too. Just a tad. I want him to get big on the lower turns. I don't think I want it to be quite that big on just a regular old left turn. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Let's go back to looking at the overall movement here. Alright, looks pretty good. I was also taking a look at stuff underneath here, and I still really like it. Like, look at that the spot just underneath that hair. Look at it change. So cool. Makes me so happy. And the shape of the tunnel itself, I think, looks pretty good. Okay, well, since I'm thoroughly distracted already, let's just embrace the distractedness and change some things. Just gonna go all in on making things cool. Look, I swear, at some point I'm gonna add some body movement and hair physics and all this other exciting stuff that I've been looking forward to for a while, but I just see all the other stuff I can do and I'm just like, oh, shiny. It's fine. I'm sure that at some point things will get to a place where I'm pretty satisfied. Has to happen someday, right? In theory. It's okay. This is one of those places near the eyes, so I am pretty okay with just taking my time and making this entire area as good as I can make it. You notice I have not got into a rabbit hole like this on just some of the random stuff in the back here. I generally get that good and I'm just like, yep, seems good. Let's go. But these areas I think are worth the extra effort. Like I said before, in all those showcases that I watched, getting the hair right was just so important and such a big step up in quality between those rigs. Alright, that seems pretty cool. Back to what I was doing over here now. Now that I am done being distracted by that, let's get this good. I really do like the way the highlights are moving here. Not very much, just a little, compared to how they are down here, where I have it get a little bit closer up towards the roots. Over here, it just gets slightly longer on the side there. Very slightly. A couple of areas I think might be a little too slight. Go ahead and just pull this guy and this guy down just a little bit. Oh yes, I think I have this area now moving the amount that I want it to. So now I guess I can just go in and make sure everything is positioned correctly vertically, and then start cleaning up. I was just realizing in my head that my usual even just drawing process is one that lets me get distracted easily, where I can just kind of go in and work on whatever I think will make the most difference today, rather than following a very rigid step-by-step structure. And I kind of like that. I like just being able to go in and say that, you know, I think that doing something like this will help today. Come on. And just being able to go do it. Not have to worry about messing anything up later. Just like, yes, today I feel like working on her face a little bit, so I'm gonna go do her face. There are very few things that I have to do in a specific order. I generally won't refine a lot of things until I have most of the stuff around it, especially above it. You know, things that'll be casting shadows on it, especially. Done, but I can at least get it into a fairly good state that just needs to be cleaned up. And I like that. See, I complain about all these rabbit holes that I go down sometimes while I'm rigging, but nah, I enjoy it. Every time. And I'm glad that I can just do it. Don't have to think too hard about the order of operations here, just go do it. I personally think it's a good way to be. Alright, looks a little bit better than it did at the start of today. Now let's get these lower strands. Might need to move the ear, might not. I'm gonna start with not, since after all that ear will be in the final version. I like to do as much as I can with all the layers on. It's a choice. I think it makes things a little bit easier. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to hide the ear. Because there's just some things under there that I can tell that I need to adjust, but I'm not quite sure how. Because I can't see them. Not being able to see them makes it a little bit hard to know how it's supposed to look. See, now that I can actually see it, it's much easier to adjust. As you can see, my preference was still try to do as much as I can with the layer on. And if it just proves to be a little bit too much guesswork, then I can go turn it off. But I found that if I turned it off first, then I just make a bunch of adjustments on things that aren't even going to be visible and probably don't really matter very much. So I prefer to do as much as I can with the layers on. And only turn it off when it becomes clear that I have to make some changes that I would not be able to see otherwise. And that the textures underneath certain parts just end up being important. Because that does happen. Happens quite often, actually. Okay, I think that's looking good. Go ahead and turn the strand back on. Is it still looking good? It is not. Alright, bring it on the big brush here. Gotta get this little tiny curve exactly the way I want it here. Alright, nice simple change, but I think it looks good. So, back down here, where, oh my, shenanigans afoot. But it's okay, that's why I wanted to fix up that left turn first. And yes, I still like the way the highlights go up closer to the roots during my downward turns. It makes me happy. Alright, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is actually adjust that little bit right underneath here. Because it's a nice, easy adjustment, and I think it makes things look fantastic. So it makes me really happy to work on it. One of those little tiny things that I can just do real quick and be like, yeah, this is great. Okay. So much like on the left turn, I do think I am just gonna push everything over here just slightly to the left there. Start lining things up horizontally here. It's mostly there. It's actually pretty good. So now it's just a matter of making it a little bit better. Man, with as late a start as I got on working on these left turns, I think they're going pretty well. It's looking like I might be able to finish off this part today. Or at least over here. Probably not the entire lower left here because I haven't even started on the left side. Part over here that I wanted to adjust. But I do think I can probably get most of that, which is pretty sweet. This area is always pretty hard. Alright, I think I got everything pretty much lined up there. Might still need to adjust the highlights a little bit. Yeah, I see a couple of things over here that still need a little bit of adjustment. Okay, getting there. Getting there. Extend these highlights just a little bit here. Line those up just a little bit better. And then I think it's time to go in for cleaning. Let's see, gotta extend highlights a little bit more. Okay, it seems pretty good. I really do like the way the highlights move. Look at them. So cool. Okay. Now to actually kind of clean things up and perfect the angle through the highlights and that long shadow there that I think defines so much of how this area looks. Always like to clean up the spot first. It's just so important. Alright, not bad at all. I think that's lining up pretty well. Let's see. I think I can make the angle right here just a little bit better. So let's go do that. Just like something like that. Getting the exact shape here is always a little bit of a struggle. But a very worthwhile one. Alright, yeah, I think that's looking better. So now I think that the angle on this slope is a little bit too strong. So let's temper that just a little bit. It'll be that spot right there, just a little bit higher up. And I think I want to drop the very, very edge of this just a little bit here. Just a teeny tiny bit. And then fix the curve here. And at some point I'll have to clean that up. It's not too messy. Fortunately, the way I've been doing things has kept it fairly neat. Yeah, look at that. It's just so nice. Okay, let's go do the strand here. And I think that will be the last thing that I do for today. So bye. I think I'm just gonna unset that. Where is it? Hair side connecting. Hair side connecting strand. Perfect. Okay. Let's just unset that and then I will clean it up a bit. I wonder why it wants to do it like that. Oh, whatever. I hoped unsetting it would do a little bit more for me, but it's okay. It happens. So my brain is here to make everything look nice. Computer can't do everything for me just yet. Gotta keep thinking. Alright, let's straighten it out now. Now that I have everything roughly in place here, some spots just got a little bit crunched up. There we go. Now it's getting all nice and smooth. All nice and smooth. Still a little crunchy spot right at the top there. Yeah, there we go. That looks pretty okay. Let's see if it lines up movement-wise. Not quite. Yeah, definitely not quite. Got some kind of shenanigan going on here. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Still got some shaping I need to do, but I am moving in the right direction. Let me also check on the diagonal itself. I think where the strand connects could actually stand to be just like a touch higher. More like right there. Yeah, I think that helped a little. And then if I can, I want it to curl just a little bit differently near the end here. Like right here. More like this. The original just has this cute little curve on it. I always like to try to preserve it. So I think it makes things look nice. Yeah, there we go. I think that's pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. And so, I think that's where I will leave things for today. So, thank you all for coming, and I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I'll see you all tomorrow.